You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley, with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders protect their people and property with wisdom and clarity. If you've ever been handed the responsibility of church insurance and wondered where you should even start, you are not alone. Elizabeth felt that exact weight while she was sitting at her kitchen table in Fort Worth. Her church had recently completed renovations, their mission was growing, and the building was being used more than ever. And now she was responsible for making sure it was protected. She felt unsettled about how to choose the right option. She didn't want coverage that just looked good on paper but fell apart when it mattered. She wanted confidence and certainty. So she called the church insurance team at Insurance for Texans. The first thing Elizabeth learned is that church insurance always starts with the building itself. In Texas, especially North Texas, property coverage isn't optional. It's foundational. Hail, wind, fire, and even vandalism are real threats. When a storm hits, this coverage is what keeps a church from losing momentum or draining reserves just to reopen the doors. But a church isn't just bricks and mortar, it's people. And wherever people gather, accidents can happen. That's where general liability coverage steps in. Elizabeth quickly realized that one slip in a hallway or one accident during an event could turn into a financial nightmare without proper protection. Liability coverage keeps one unfortunate moment from becoming a long-term burden on the church. As the conversation went deeper, Elizabeth began to see risks she hadn't thought about before. Pastoral counseling, staff guidance, small group leadership, professional liability exists to protect the church when someone claims harm from advice or care that was meant to help. Without it, ministry leaders can be left personally exposed for simply doing their calling. Then there was the boardroom. Elizabeth served on the church board, and she hadn't realized that decisions made in good faith, budget choices, staffing changes, leadership direction could still lead to legal action. Directors and officers coverage exists so church leaders can lead without fear that one hard decision could jeopardize their personal finances. Additionally, her church had employees, office staff, ministry leaders, support roles. That's where workers' compensation became part of the conversation. In Texas, it is not a legal requirement, but it is wise protection. When someone gets hurt doing church work, this coverage keeps care focused on healing instead of lawsuits. And then our conversation turned to something difficult, but necessary to discuss. Protection against abuse-related claims isn't easy to talk about, but it's part of living in today's world. Elizabeth understood that abuse and molestation coverage is meant to safeguard the congregation, the church's witness and its future. Then there were the extra coverages that didn't really feel like extras once we explained them to her. Big events bring the community together, but also invite liability. Church vans transporting members and youth are necessary and important, but don't come without risk. Each of these carried risk that needed to be addressed intentionally, not assumed away. By the end of the process, Elizabeth didn't feel overwhelmed anymore. She felt equipped. She understood that church insurance isn't about buying a package. It's about building protection around how a church actually lives, serves, and ministers. If you're a church leader who's unsure whether your current coverage truly reflects your church's mission, reach out to our church insurance agents at insurancefortexans.com. And if you would like a broader overview of church insurance in general, get a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. Until next time, remember, good stewardship starts with good advice.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, Insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.